Okay, Sean, explain to people who haven't followed this in part because the dominant media has largely blacked it out. What's happening in the Virginia Attorney General's race that's causing Republicans to think that it could impact not just that race, but the governor's race?
All right, so Jay Jones, a former legislator, he is the Democrat nominee for Attorney General, and there was some text unearthed between him and Kerry Warner, who is a delegate in the House of Delegates, a Republican delegate, by the
A
way,
Republican delegate. Yep.
where he said, if I had two bullets, and there were three people: Hitler, Pol Pot, and Todd Gilbert. Todd Gilbert is the former speaker, the Republican Speaker of the House. I would use both on Gilbert and then basically go after his family.
Okay, so just to summarize that because it's complicated, the guy who's the Democratic nominee for Attorney General in Virginia this fall, who's running against a Republican incumbent, right?
No, yes, Jason Mayaris.
Yeah.
He's an incumbent.
Yes.
Sent text 2 years ago.
Yes, 3
years ago to a Republican colleague, basically saying, I'd love to assassinate. And he was angry. He was angry over politics. We don't need to go into
I mean,
why.
that's
But he was angry. He was speaking metaphorically. He was
yeah.
speaking metaphorically, but very loosely. And he since apologized for it.
Well, and the guy in the text the Republican in the text says, "Hey, stop this!" I am.
So she says, she basically, right.
Yeah.
So Kerry says, stop it, right? But then this is where I think it gets worse. This is after he gets confronted with it. This is Jay Jones's response. Like all people, I sent text messages that I regret. And I believe that violent rhetoric has no place in our politics. Well, first of all, just stop there. Like all people, I generally have not called for the assassination of people and their family and their kids, by the way, Todd's kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he goes on and says this. Let's be clear what is happening in the Attorney General's race right now. Jason Mayaris, the Republican incumbent, is dropping smears through Trump-controlled media organizations because it was the National Review that broke it. So you're blaming Jason Mayaris for the fact that you sent text trying to claiming that you would like to assassinate the Speaker of the House and his family. And you're going to blame the National Review and Jason Mayaris for that.
So their ads already on the air against the gubernatorial nominee Spanberger, who previously has praised Jones and has not distanced herself fully. Dan, if you were an advisor to Spanberger, what would you tell her to do?
Well, no, she did condemn,
but she
did not do
is call for him to step down, or call for him to step down as the nominee.
Correct. And I think this is so. First off, I believe, as we said before, that he was speaking rhetorically. He was frustrated. In this environment, though, it looks terrible. I mean, it just full stop.
Well, it is terrible. It's not just
it is terrible. No, of course. Well, yes, absolutely. Period. I think the challenge is, and we're going to find out whether in this environment people are so tribal that you can kind of almost say or do anything, and it's not going to move the electorate, right? Because what you're seeing on the Democratic side of the aisle in response to this, and I think this is kind of Dems trying to comfort themselves, is Trump says crazy stuff all the time. He doesn't apologize, that he doesn't step down. So we can push through this. We're going to find out that race is closer than it was, by all accounts, 2 months ago.
Who was the favorite before this development occurred?
If you believe polling, it was about the public polling has it about 5. So
the public, who's
for Spanberger?
So let me give you the public polling
in the AG's race.
Right. So just top
for,
of the
for Jones, yeah.
Right now, Spanberger is public polling ahead by about 10 over Winsome Earl Sears, the current lieutenant governor. In the lieutenant governor's race, which is John Reed, he is probably the closest among 4, and then Jason Mayaris, Jay Jones is between 5 and 6 in public polling. I can tell you
who was ahead 5 or 6.
All the Democrats in each of those races.
All the Democrats.
Now, I will say, private polling among the campaigns shows this a much tighter race.
Yeah. Why would the incumbent Republican Attorney General be down?
Again, look at where, according to the public polling, I mean, Winsome's down anywhere from 12 to 8.
Yeah, but she's a bad candidate, and not.
But I think it just bleeds down. I mean, that's just I personally believe. I mean, just my take on the race. I think that right now, if the election were held today, both Mayaris and John Reed would both win statewide. I think Winsome is right there But I think those two will win, no question about it.
Dan, is this a crisis for your party, at least in Virginia, or not?
No, I don't. I mean, look, it's a problem, but there's so much stuff else going on that I don't believe it will, it's not the only issue between now and November.
Okay. Yeah.
But here's the problem. They're super nervous in New Jersey, like super nervous about losing New Jersey. Democrats are.
Yeah.
If I think people felt pretty good about Virginia, now they feel less good about Virginia. They're worried. You still have the idea that Mandani may get elected in New York City. And you could be looking at, we lose the shutdown, we lose New Jersey, Virginia is not as rosy as we hoped, and we have a socialist in New York City. That's not the best end of the calendar year for the Democratic Party.
I agree with Dan. I mean, look, I think New Jersey is I think Jack Ciattarelli wins. And I think in New Jersey, this is the Terry McAuliffe moment. If you remember 4 years ago, this is when Terry made those comments about parents shouldn't be involved in education. Youngkin seized on that, and we wrote a wave to all 3 constitutional officers in Virginia. But look, this is the idea that, what are we, 3 weeks after Charlie's assassination, 4 weeks, that not one national Dem has been asked to condemn this. I mean, this is pathetic. And the only reason it came up on any Sunday show yesterday, is because Mark Short at the end of Meet the Press inserted it into the conversation. Kristen Welker was going to ignore that. And here's the big picture for me. And by the way, I'll just say this, Mark, because you brought it up. The idea that Winsome Sears is the first one up on the ads and not Jason Myers. Jason's consultants should be shamed and fired and never used in Virginia again. This is pathetic that they're not out there.
Kind of crazy.
But the last thing I'll say is this. You have a candidate. And again, Dan, I will say this, like having a text change where it says, Dan, I'm so pissed I could kill Mark. Okay, but when you say, if there's 2 bullets and one of them's Hitler, one of them's Pol Pot, I would put both of them in Speaker Todd Gilbert's head. That's not like a one-off, hey, I joked about killing someone. That's a thought-through process. And you take that and what happened with the Portland ICE, there is no both sides.
Okay,
this was the test and the Dems failed.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.